I'm going to call the workshop for January 8th, 6:30. Okay, we'll rise to the pledge of allegiance, please. I never said it, so I'm going to do it. Okay. Sorry, I never picked it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey, could we remain standing because of that Ross Strader paramedic who passed away a couple days ago? Okay, thank you.
That was not.
Roll call.
Councilman Falls?
Here.
Councilman Fowler?
Here.
Councilman Bodie?
Here.
Councilman Stein?
Here.
Councilman Petrucci?
Here.
Councilman Hondo?
Here.
President Inglis?
Here. Okay, this is a workshop, and I'm new, so everything's gonna be new. Starting now, every workshop will be taking no public comments. We're just gonna go over the items with the council, and then the following week, the following council meeting, then we can take public comments on that. So, with that,
They have to get it on the agenda for the fall.
pardon me?
They have to get on the agenda for.
No, whatever, on our agenda, we'll have, when is there's items for consideration, which would be these three here, they can ask the questions then. Go ahead, Joe.
Council items. We talked about the tax assessment. Some of the newer houses have been sold for large amounts that aren't assessed.
Can I interrupt you for a minute? Because I don't agree with that, Mr. President. At a public meeting, people are allowed to speak. They have the right to speak at public meetings. Ask our solicitor, please, for me, if we're allowed to do that, if the public has a right to speak at a public meeting.
He did check with me beforehand, and I ruled that he can do that. In fact,
Can do that.
meetings I attend, the public does not speak at the workshop. And I'll give you the section if you want to check it. It's right out of the Sunshine Act. It's 8 Pennsylvania Code. Sorry, that's a different, you'll find I have it there. You only have to allow public comment on the meeting when council is voting, so that council then can consider the public's input and comments. You don't have to allow it at a non-voting meeting. Let me find the section for you, Mayor. Maybe I didn't bring it with me, but if I don't have it here, I'd be happy to call you and tell you what it is. So you
That's
can check
fine.
it.
That's fine.
Yeah, I don't see it here, but it's in the Sunshine Act when public comment is required. So he checked with me beforehand, and I told him legally, yes, you can do that.
Thank you.
Well,
Okay.
Council items. Tax assessment. We talked about some of the homes are being sold for high amounts and the tax assessments are getting reallocated equitably. We talked to the school district. The school district, actually, one of the school board members contacted me and had the discussion. After looking into it further, the solicitor of the school board, and our solicitor, Nikki Vasovic, they do this all the time. They're going to put some parameters together to present the council and the school board to see if these are the parameters that we want to work in. For instance, we're not going to go to every one. If a house is assessed, they're sold for $100,000, it's assessed at 65. We're not going to go and appeal that assessment. But they're going to put parameters, possibly $100,000, starting at $100,000. So if a house was sold for, $75,000 or $175,000 and assessed at 75, therefore it may be assessed. They're working on those parameters now, and we'll talk about that at a later date.
and if I can also add, there will be a cost savings to both the borough and the school. So what we'll do is, when we agree on what the parameters are and council approves that, then the school solicitor and Nick, who does that for Munhall Borough, will then divvy up the work, and then whatever particular appeal is taken, the cost will be shared by both. So you only have one lawyer handling for both the school and the borough, so there'll be cost savings overall for both entities. Thank you.
Second, parcels to be sold. We auctioned off some of the parcels that are in the borough that we own, that we have to take care of, or we have to insure. And we had some interest, as we know, from last week, or last meeting. And we had a East James Street, parcel 181 E100, we were offered $500. Creek Street, 179 N148, $501. Mary Street, 181A 081 for $1,800. Virginia Street, 182A 10, $1,760. McWhinney Street, 182A 08, $2,260. These are the only ones that bid on these properties. Now, all these properties are more like their yards. They're right next to their properties. That's why they bid on them. We don't anticipate and anybody else even want these, even if there's a parcel there and they want to put a garage on it, they can't do that. They can't do that unless they have a dwelling on it. So my suggestion, and we'll have motions next week on each individual one to sell it to these individuals. And we can think about whether we want to sell these or not. Now, there was 2412 Charles Street that was on this auctioneer document, and we had multiple offers: a $30,000, a $64,600, a $1,350, and the highest bidder was $100,100. So the question is, that $100,100, is that enough for us to put another building somewhere else to be able to handle what that is? And that's what council needs to determine, whether we want to sell that building for that amount, or do we just want to keep it as a public works warehouse as it is now.
Could you put something together for us, maybe for next week? Like how much it cost us this year to keep the building? I know, I guess they still have to have some, gas going in there and water. There's some, small bills, I'm sure.
Well,
Because I know everything, the temperature's probably turned down low, but you need the pipes running. How much it cost for the upkeep for the year on that building? And when we know the building's not in good shape either, so.
but more
for us to tear it
importantly,
down, what would it cost?
more importantly, the question would be, do we want to sell it, or is it more valuable to the borough to use as a warehouse for public works?
Is it big enough?
That's what's in there now, yeah.
We're using it now.
What's
Oh.
stored there, right?
It could always, it's one of those things, it could always be bigger, but then where do we get it? For $100,000, we take $100,000, can we get something comparable to that size when you put the concrete down, put the steel building? We just talked to PJ Ostrowski, who does it, to try to give us some ideas. And what size building did we come up with?
I think a 30 by 80 or a 30 by 60 would be close. It would get you in the ballpark as far as price range goes, just for storage.
And then the question is can we put it down the waterfront? Does that make sense?
And we already own the building.
We only own the building. And
Why can't we just forget the waterfront, just put it in the back?
That's what I was.
we got room back. We own the property back
It'd be
there.
much more convenient.
Just one other thing for council's consideration that I think we need to consider the condition the building's in. If it needs a lot of repairs, is there going to be a lot of long-term maintenance costs associated with keeping it operational, keeping the roof from leaking, fixing floors,
The building's bad, you're right.
Yeah.
It's
So
been crappy.
even, you may not be able to replace it in kind, immediately with a building, but, that is the same space and, for a complete wash, but say it's, $25,000 or $50,000 more, 125 versus 100, it might, for a 25 or a 50-year investment, it might make sense from from that standpoint.
Rick, how long do we delay this?
Yeah, here's the thing, the bids have to remain open for 60 days, they can't all withdraw them. So we open these bids on December 18th. Our February voting meeting, I think, is February 19th. So I didn't add it specifically, but I think it's a day or two beyond the 60 days. And what you're talking about evaluating, probably gonna take more than a week. So what you could do is call the bidder, the high bidder, Peffer, and ask him if he'll agree to keep his bid open until February 19th, whatever that voting meeting is, to give us an additional couple of days. Otherwise, we won't be able to vote within the 60 days if you wait until February. But that's an option. I've seen that done before. Typically, the bidder will say, yeah, that's fine, there's a couple more days for us to make our evaluation.
And if he agrees to that, do we have to do anything or other than just
No,
email?
well, you could act on the other ones next week, and then just
Right.
defer that until February. We want to confirm that in writing, that he's agreed to keep it open until, our meeting, February 19th. I think that's what it is.
Are we gonna be moving stuff from somewhere else to put in that building, or stuff that we already have, like,
It's already in there.
it's already in there? I was gonna say, like snow plows and stuff,
Yeah.
store it in there for the summer, you know?
That's in there now.
That's normally.
Well, not in there now, they're on a truck.
Lawnmowers now are in there, summer stuff's in there now, and then in the summer, the winter stuff's in
Do
there.
you find it large enough, Bob?
No, it's not big enough, but
No?
the way I look at it, it's already there. And it's still, water utilities.
Well, you still have, we still have utilities.
Yeah, there's some basic utilities
Not
there,
down
right?
there.
None at all?
Of number 3?
There's no heat there at all?
Yeah, we have everything there. We have,
Oh, you have heat, you have water?
Yeah, we get everything.
Yeah. Oh, you do have utilities.
I think what Bob's saying, if we replace it with a new metal storage building, at least initially for something in the maybe $80,000 to $125,000 range, you're not gonna get electric, you're not gonna get plumbing, you're not gonna get, sewage, stuff like that. Immediately, you could add that stuff in later, but not, or you could add it in immediately, but not for $120,000 or, $100,000 plus.
But if
or
it's
minus.
storage, what do you need all that for? What do you need sewage for if it's stored stuff?
Drains, if you were gonna wash down stuff, or, I don't know.
But that building can cave in any time.
That would be my major concern.
Because this big
Is
crack
the-
before, the roof's bad.
Hey, Jay, is there floor crack? Is there a crack in the floor? Do you know?
There was one.
And I remember hearing there was a large crack in the floor at one
I
time.
think there's also one in the back wall.
So that is something to be
So,
considered.
you wanna look at that?
Yeah. Just one other thing, that we tore down a large brick building, I think, was that 2007, the one on 8th Avenue? Was that 2017 or 2018? That apartment building that was collapsing?
9th Avenue.
9th Avenue, excuse me. It was $65,000 just for the borough, just to demolish that building. So, if that fire station gets in an extreme state of disrepair, it needs to be demolished, I mean, the borough could pay upwards of $50,000 just to have the building demolished.
What you're mostly saying is to sell it and let that guy worry about it.
It's not your problem.
Wouldn't it be wise to, if you're gonna spend $100,000, if we're gonna build a new building, build one, or put one up that will handle all the equipment that we need it to handle, even if it goes over $100,000, and not make a mistake and get one just for $100,000, then it'll be too small. I'd be willing to put a little bit more money into it just to make it bigger, so we can handle everything that it needs to handle.
Basically, would you say that square footage wasn't that far off?
2,000?
yeah, I guess 2,000 for about 4,000.
Things stored on both floors or just?
Why don't you just look at the building? Tell us exactly what's gonna happen with that building.
I'll go look at
Until
it.
you see about this guy, I'll see what he can do, right?
Yeah, see if they extend it, ask until February 20, whatever the day after the meeting is, and then confirm that in writing.
Colin, when can you look at that?
I mean, I could look at it tomorrow if need be. I'll let
Friday.
Joe, yeah, Friday, I'll be out here already anyways. And I'll get, council a report.
All right. Good, cheers, good. Moving right along. The animal ordinance is in your packets. Please read it, we'll act on that next week.
No, that's good plan.
Go ahead, let's go to planning, commission. That's right. We'll vote next week to send it to the planning. commission. Sorry, Peter. And the only other item, additional items, Dave and I attended a meeting today on the census. And one thing, the biggest thing we took out of the 2020 census is it's very important to get done and to do. It's important for everyone in Munhall to fill out the information. You can do it online, and we'll get flyers in the mail, we'll get different things, there'll be all kinds of propaganda coming out to be able to do it, to make sure we do it. And you'll be able to do it online, you'll be able to do it by phone, you'll be able to write and do it. If we don't do it, people will be knocking on your door and asking these questions. And what we find out today, what I got out of it is how serious it is to get done. And I even asked Dave, if you weren't here and I told you it's very important for people to do this, would you have taken me that serious? He said no.
Absolutely.
And it is that important to get this census done. It was sponsored by Jefferson Regional Foundation, and the key to that is that's how they get funding, based on the amount of people that are in this region. So same thing with the municipality. And the numbers they used was $2,100 a person per year. So if a family of 5 doesn't fill it out, or doesn't, you get a 0 if you don't do anything. That's $100,000 over a 10-year period that we lose out on. So we will be, I guess my point today is that census is very serious and take it personally and make sure we all get it done. That's all I have.
Any additional items?
I have one, I actually have two. One, Harvey's comments, I understand the borough code very well, and the president's prerogative is to run the meetings as he chooses. But I hope that, I know I probably ran different meetings different than Harvey, and maybe some of you liked it, maybe some of you didn't, but I just hope it wasn't any shot at me in the way that I run the meetings.
Yes. Not at all.
Okay. I mean, I just wanted to make that clear. And I know the borough code very well, and I know it's your prerogative in the solicitor, opinion, but the president does have a prerogative how he chooses to run it. And of course, we run them different. And the second thing that I have, it's all in your packets, and I am the third vice president for the Allegheny County Boroughs Association. And on February 1st, we have coming up, there is the banquet, the big yearly banquet for the Boroughs Association. I'm not sure if that was in your packet yet. I didn't see that there. Go through real quickly. And the second one is the League of Municipalities. A lot of people think this is a vacation. I mean, sure, it's nice to get away for a weekend, but there's a lot of important things that go on there, discussions, when we attend the meetings. For instance, on this year's agenda, it looks like there's health and wellness in our communities, growth and vibrancy in our communities, financial solvency in our communities, safety, security in our communities, clean water in our communities, sound policy and advisory for our communities. I mean, there's really a lot of good stuff on the agenda, and I do think it is something that is worthwhile. The people that have attended it, always rate it very highly. Last year, they have, in the contacts that you make with other councilmen and mayors, is the value of that is great. When you just talk to the other communities to see what they do sometimes is great. And one interesting point of it is for the two new councilmen, Mark and Kevin, first-time offenders, there is nothing great, but a $100 discount for first-time attendees. So, I mean, I highly recommend this event. I think it's worth it. It's worth what you put into it. You go to the meetings and you attend the meetings like we all do. We get stuff out of it, and we've actually brought things home. Mr. Bodadian and I went to one year we went and we brought in a recycling thing back. And we found a recycling company to handle our recycles that we talked to.
We got a lot of things. You got for the community days, you got them, bouncy things and all that up.
Right, and the stuff we have for communities, a lot of that, we make contacts up there.
We got stuff
And
for
I
playground.
actually have, you know, because we've attended up there, I think we've got it at better rates and, you know, stuff because of attending up there and getting to know those people, they've kept our rates down in community days. When we do rent those bouncy houses from them, actually not the bouncy houses, the games that we work.
Right, most of the games.
The games that we work are rented from them, and that's actually helped our attendance at community days. So I just want to bring that to everyone's attention.
I agree, Rob.
April, that's April 2nd.
April 2nd through the 5th, Thursday, third evening through Sunday morning. But there's other sessions where you can attend 3 days. If you don't want to go up Thursday, you want to come up Friday, you can do that. Some of our council has done that before. I think, Mary, you came up on a Friday one time because you had some other things going on Thursday, and you couldn't make it up on Friday.
I think I'd like to touch on that is, you talk about the connections and the people, the networking and everything.
Networking's fabulous.
And with our relationship that we have with Brentwood, with Bowtie George was in the meeting with us today, and he did inform us that Harold is the president and AJ Doyle is the vice president.
Where? Harold's the president?
Harold's been the president, hasn't he?
Okay.
Harold's been the president for quite some time.
2 years. But
Last 2 years, okay.
AJ's the vice president now.
Huh.
And those are key to, we bounce a lot of stuff I talked to George, and as much as I talked to Brian came up, so.
Any additional items?
I got two real quick, Art. The Code Red program that we unanimously approved back in February 2019 by council, I think I'd spoken to a couple other council people in other boroughs, and they find it very valuable. And I think that if you could give me some information on that, Joe, I'd like to take a look at that. It seems to me that that'd be a very, back in, February we talked and everybody thought it would be a great idea, and then all of a sudden, you know, for 10 months it kind of laxed and then it just disappeared. We never, so, but you can possibly even send me something by email or, you know, I don't know. The other thing is, I don't know, I spoke with another councilman on here and talking about employee evaluations. Have we ever done like yearly evaluations of
On new
employees?
And what
Everybody who's
Well,
paid
you
by
got-
the borough.
You got FOP takes care of them guys there.
Okay.
And we can't mess with them because of the contract.
No, that's fine.
And Teamsters, so who you talking about that?
Anybody else that
So
not
you're
covered by
mostly
that?
talking about the ones in the office and you.
I know that was brought up, and I guess that's a bargaining unit issue, that's bargaining.
Okay,
They collective bargaining for, I'm sure for Bob's guys and my guys.
and you can't do that, or it's?
Has to be
you
bargained
have
into
to
the
be
contract,
into
you
the
just settle the contract. You have to
I think
have a
those would be
contract.
for office staff, Boomer, Becky, Joe, Roseanne. And, you know, and it's nothing, I don't think it's anything bad, but, you know, most of our jobs, you know, a lot of times, even the person that is getting, you know, reviewed gets involved. And for instance, goals and objectives, you know, what are your goals and objectives for the
Right.
2020? And you write down some goals and objectives. And if you would like training in anything, maybe, you could put that in. Maybe it could be as helpful to the employee too.
I just think we should consider it.
But I understand what you're saying, Mark, but to me, you're just singling out the office.
Well, if that's the only people we can evaluate, I guess that's all we can.
Because you got Teamsters on one end and FOP on the other.
Yeah, more comfortable too, and I have an opinion that we probably would have to just send her to the office, you know, because of the union contracts. And I don't know where Pat would fall, but I would think that would maybe fall under the mayor if we reviewed by.
I review him daily.
Okay, stay on.
I got yelled at that. But that's a valid point, and how do the employees get evaluated?
I don't know.
Any company that runs a company
Right.
evaluates who's working for them. At any level.
You evaluate that because you run the police department, right?
I speak with him daily.
Well, no,
at times,
well-
and if there's problems, I tell him, hey, I got a problem, you're
Do
doing
you
something.
want me to check with these every day?
I'm asking the question that
I understand what you're saying, I'm
he
trying
asked.
to get an answer. Do you want me to?
Well, it's just a once a year thing.
It's not a daily thing, he does it daily. but-
I can speak for the police department. I mean, we have command staff. We have myself, we have Captain Snyder, we have shift sergeants. If I notice something with one of the officers or anyone under my command, I address it with them. If one of the sergeants has a problem with one of his subordinates, he addresses that issue with them. If it doesn't get corrected, he brings it to me or the captain. You know, so it's a continuous thing for us.
Right, self-evaluation.
And also, it can bring guys together and people together to work together a little bit too. It doesn't, it's not meant to be a reprimand. It's meant to be
No, I'm just asking you what me to.
that's up to you guys.
You know, that's the way most companies evaluate, you know, underperformance, they evaluate raises, you know, to be honest with you.
What
If
about
the person's a 3% or 4%.
Don't she evaluate people?
I think I can speak for Becky, Dave, Bob, myself, Matt. Please don't wait a year if you have a problem with anything that we're doing. Bring it up to us immediately.
So to that point, so Joe oversees, I think, Bob, Boomer, Becky, Roseanne. So I have about 10 people that report to me at my day job. I review them. My manager doesn't review them. My manager reviews me. I review them. So if Joe is their manager, Joe would be reviewing them. So the council would only be reviewing Joe. And I can tell you personally, that like the mayor said, I talk to him every single day. If there's anything that I think is wrong, we course correct immediately. So at the end of the year, his objectives have been well stated throughout the year. Are we in a deficit? Did we get the audit in time? Did we get the liquid fuels tax back? There are constant milestones and objectives for him every year. You would know well in advance. So I don't know that there's any sort of formal review that would benefit us, at least in terms of him, because you're seeing, as the mayor said with Pat, there's constant course correction every day if something's seen. Or as Pat said with his direct subordinates, you're constantly discussing and adjusting. I don't know that there'd be much to gain.
I would say that I speak to Bob and Jason probably on a daily basis, and probably the other councilmen, at least 3 times a week, and I offer that to the new councilmen as well. However you feel you want to work, let me know. If it's through email, through a phone call, to stop in, more than welcome.
Good.
I know I get, actually, the 2 people that review me on the state level is the state insurance company and labor and industry. The state insurance company comes and audits me every 3 years. The labor and industry, who I report to, the monthly report, or reports on it, they audit me every 5 years. So I get audited by the state.
I'm sure, I remember when them weren't doing well, Joe would tell them about it. He would call her in, call Rudd, I mean, he probably does.
We had an issue, and then we resolved, we had a discussion, and it was fixed, how quick?
Well, you work for the county, do you get evaluations? Because I know my wife doesn't, she works for the county.
The county, I mean, it's pretty much the same. You know, I work closely with all my employees. I have 9 employees. And I work closely every day. The county, because they're union employees, there's no evaluation. But my employees are all union employees. No, there's no evaluation.
How about yourself?
I'm sure I'm evaluated. As a management employee, yeah, I'm evaluated. Yeah, as a management employee, I am, but my union employees are evaluated, but it's similar to what, you know, they said, I'm in contact with them every day if there's a problem. My union employees I talk to.
Okay, we'll do that. And then when we come up with something, we'll report back to council. We'll oversee what he has, people, just like the mayor does. We'll oversee him. And then we'll come back to council. Me and Jason will oversee him, and we'll come back to council. And see what we're gonna do. There you go.
Who you gonna oversee?
Pardon me?
Joe.
What did you say?
Joe's the only one we oversee.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we talked about that early on when I got here, but the thing is we work so close together, and especially the three of us.
We're here at 7:30 every morning and we talk about the day, what happened the day before, what we need to do, and then when we do the yearly review for raises, we go through the year and see what we think we might have had to do work on or not. So it's just kind of a conversation. We meet together every day.
Harvey, one more thing.
Yes, sir.
With that, the Census Bureau is actually looking for employees. I think they pay $23 an hour. They're looking for,
$23.50.
I don't know if you ever looked at the dictionary, but under the word retire, doesn't say work.
Do they take part-timers?
I didn't say retired people.
Are they taking part-time, anybody part-time? They can do Saturday and Sunday.
You can work whatever you want to work.
Hey, I was just gonna bring that up, my cousin, I seen her at a family funeral last week, she's the coordinator for Western Pennsylvania for the Census Bureau. $23 an hour, you can make your own hours, you can pick where you wanna do the census, she said they're starting for people.
Do you know, like, how long that would be? Is it like 2 months, 6 months?
I think, I don't know, I'd have to call her.
It's till April. They have to have everything in by April. So from now till April.
Okay.
It is a big deal, it's a very big deal.
But they are hurting for,
I might get back to you on that.
They put you, I signed up on that. Yeah. They ask
You don't go door to door, do you?
yeah.
You could go door to door, you could make your vote.
your constituents, you know?
They're not gonna put you somewhere.
Yeah, they ask you where you live in your cross streets, and they put you right in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'm sorry, this is real small. Becky or Joe, can you put that on the website, and then those are where they can call if the people are
They
interested?
will be sending stuff. I ordered 100 extra flyers. Most of them will go to the library. The library, I'll talk to Carol tomorrow. We'll get the library involved. We actually started the ideas that we have. We'll ask the fire department to put it on here. There's a few things. They'll be sending out there. It's a process that we can go through and set all this up.
Yeah, so maybe we put it on our website, too, so it's on there.
As I said, they're going to send us the stuff to put on the
They're
website.
not putting it on the website, okay. Good.
Better than putting in pictures on the website.
Scary ones, right?
They were bad. That's it. They were bad. Get a motion on the table?
Second.
Second, all in favor? All right, opposed?